This is what this is about. Tony Schiavone, I'm really glad you're here because you have been part of so many iconic moments in the wrestling industry, and this will be one of those iconic moments. As you know, and everybody knows, tonight here at Fyter Fest, what was supposed to happen was the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley was supposed to defend his title against The Machine. Now next week, as we know, that will happen, and Brian Cage, The Machine, will be crowned the new AEW World Champion. But that's what brings me to this, what's in my hands. What's in my hands, Tony, is something that I created decades ago. What's in my hands is something that basically is my full body of work. What's in my hands was created with my blood, my sweat, my tears. What's in my hands is the FTW World Championship.
Welcome back, All Elite family, to another exciting edition of the All Elite podcast. As always, I'm your host, All Elite Andy, joined by my three co-hosts, Big Match AJ, Phil, and Kira. How you guys doing?
Good.
Great.
Good.
That's good. What'd you guys think of tonight's Fyter Fest? It was a little bit maybe underwhelming. I think we got a lot of hype for these shows, and they might not have necessarily delivered to everyone's liking. What'd you guys think?
Listen, I'm going to be honest. I was multitasking. I was doing the notes. I was on Twitter. I was talking to a film group, but I liked it. Like, maybe it's because I was doing so much shit that, like, I couldn't give it my full attention. But I enjoyed the show top to bottom. There were some surprising moments for me. I was having fun with the community on Twitter. I thoroughly enjoyed this show.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really liked night one a little better, but maybe that's because I was doing the tweeting on that night, and it really is fun to, like, engage with people while watching it live, because I can't always watch lives, so it definitely adds another element to it. I would say that these two shows were basically glorified Dynamites. There was no... If this had been a full pay-per-view, it really would have been an underwhelming pay-per-view. There was no big moments. There's no shocking, like, holy shit, I can't believe I missed that. It was just a lot of good wrestling.
Yeah. It was good wrestling. It just felt like another night of AEW. Like, I forgot that it was, like, Fyter Fest.
Yeah.
But it was still good. Oh, there's been better.
It really did miss the title match, because that was a big match.
Definitely.
And it definitely felt like it was missing something on this night.
Mm-hmm. And the tag match just couldn't make up for that, no matter how good it would have been. And it was okay, but, like, it wasn't going to be a replacement for the title match.
I've got a quick thought on the title match, the tag title match, when we get to it.
Well, let's jump right into it. They did. It was the first match on the show. They didn't take too long to get right into things with that being the first match on the show. Phil, go ahead. You apparently have some strong thoughts on it.
This was a perfectly fine match. If this had been a match between two teams where you don't know who's going to win, it would have been a great match. But because you know that Private Party isn't going to win, I mean, you could hold out hope for it, but it's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
It really took away from the match. I didn't really find myself getting invested in it too hard. I'm glad it didn't go too long. They gave them time to where they looked good, but at the same time, you knew the whole time who was going to win. They didn't even, like, build up tension between Kenny and Hangman, which is the most interesting dynamic of their tag team. Like, if it's just going to be they're the dominant tag team and they beat all the challengers, that story only goes so far. If we're going to be building up to, like, a breakup, we have to be doing it basically every week, and it feels like they're getting away from it. I don't know if it's to, like, swerve us to be like, holy shit, can't believe that happened, but I don't know, man. I need that drama, because this is just like a wrestling match. It didn't feel special really at all. And Private Party is, like, still very green. You can tell it if you like intently watch their matches. They're not as fluid as the other tag teams in the division, and it really hurts them.
They're hit or miss. It depends on the night, yeah.
Yep. Also, I don't understand the Matt Hardy thing. Matt
No,
Hardy
I don't
comes
either.
out with Private Party. There's no real deep explanation for it. He's just their boy.
Yeah.
I could care less about the three of these
He's
guys.
their manager, man. They're homies. He's their mentor. He's mentoring them.
It doesn't
That's
make
weird.
any.
It's
He's
just
a lot
weird.
of Private Party.
It was
Or
supposed to be a
young
program
Hardy
with
Boys in
Sammy,
Private
but
Party.
like you can just drop it since he's suspended. Nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, I don't get it."
Now we don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that this match was pretty average, like you guys said, and it like I was thinking about how the first time these two squared off, we didn't really have much to remember from it. I think this
No.
one is gonna go down sort of in similar fashion, outside of the
Mhm.
fact that we just will remember that there was nothing to really remember. Like it wasn't bad. It just wasn't really anything special.
Yeah, Kira, do you have thoughts on?
I guess I said mostly what I
I had to say.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just that it was kind of. We knew who was gonna win, and that we didn't know like what Matt Hardy's role was, but
You still don't.
yeah, because he's like friends with the Elite apparently, but then he's also somebody else's manager going against the Elite. It's weird.
It would make sense if Private Party was in the Elite, but they're not. So now he's just kind of like grizzled veteran helping out young boys. It's super weird and doesn't really make a lot of sense storyline wise or like booking wise.
Yeah, that's fair. So, yeah, and I'm not really a fan of Private Party, regardless. So putting Matt Hardy with them, it doesn't do it for me.
do
That's
anything,
not the
actually.
trick. Like the Matt Hardy we want to see really doesn't fit what they do. Yeah, so I'm not really with it. I'm not. But it's apparently something they're gonna force. So maybe it'll get better as time goes on, but we'll have to wait and see. After that match, commentary runs down the card that we have for the night, and then we jump into Lance Archer taking on Joey Janela. Lance picking up the win in almost 11 minutes, so this went quite a bit longer than I had anticipated at the very least.
And any of us.
Yeah, Joey got a fair amount in. This was one of those matches where he came off pretty strong despite looking like the loser. Or, well, despite being the loser.
I mean, I was pleasantly surprised by this match. There were a couple blips where I noticed, like, I think Joey messed up going over the ropes or something, but it was a fun match. And Joey, you got that, like, Joey Janela is resilient, like the Shawn Michaels pit bull thing. He just doesn't know when to stop. You get that out of him, and I like that. I love seeing Joey Janela in that light. It sucks that he can never pick up a win whenever he does it, but in this case, I didn't want him to. I wanted Lance Archer to go over, and he did, and it was a good finish, too. It was a really strong finish. He dropped him through the table, rolled him back in the ring, finished him. It didn't make Joey look weak coming out of it.
No, after like watching videos of what Joey Janela used to do, I knew that like after last week when we were talking about if he would last 5 minutes, like I was like, yeah, he'd last 5 minutes. Maybe 11 minutes is still a kind of long time, but I could still believe it because he just like, well, even the announcer said like he doesn't back down, like he'll do it, and I believe that he was gonna like do a really good job, but I knew he wouldn't win. It was still really good though, and yeah, I agree that he did not look bad out of it. He just, I guess, looked more like a bad boy.
It was a perfectly fine match. It was too long, but I guess none of the other matches on the card really suffered from it. There's not really a match. I was worried that I'd like come away from it and be like, man, I wish that match had a little longer because this one went so long. So that was totally fine. What?
It's the fact that he like brought out Sonny and usually he just brings out this random like jobber, and this time he threw out Sonny and just started beating him up.
Yeah, that was fun because it like reminds. I mean, we don't really need to be reminded every week that they're in a tag team, but it just like solidifies the fact that they have like a friendship of some sort.
Yeah.
He beat up his friend. I thought it was really funny that Joey like got smashed into a guardrail that was hanging out outside the ring during a commercial break where we weren't even in picture-in-picture, so he took that punishment for no reason.
Yeah. They must have like cut that, you know what I mean? Like they obviously, because they're not in picture-in-picture and it's a taped show, they're not airing that whole time. They're probably cutting it down to like 30 seconds, and still that's what's in that 30 seconds. So yeah, that's funny. Overall, I don't know. I thought that this was good for Joey, which was surprising to me. I thought that this would be a lot more of a squash, and it still was mostly a glorified squash. But he looked good. Joey looked good, despite being the loser. At one point, almost gets taken down with the finish. Is able to reverse it. Has to be beat by going through a table to the outside. Like he shows a lot of resiliency. He was beat really, really strong here, which is. It's always impressive when something like that happens with Joey because you see that they take what is potential with Joey seriously, so they're not going to waste it just by making him a jobber right away. Like, there is something there. So I was excited to see this. I was excited as a Joey fan to see him really get some time. When it went to commercial, I was like, oh, damn, they're really giving this time. Like,
yeah. I kind of had a negative reaction to it when it went to commercial. I was like, Jesus Christ, why is this going? Why is this going for so long?
I disagree. I like that it went that long.
It's fair because you know who's going to win.
Yeah, that's true, but I enjoyed the match.
But from our perspective, I guess, of wanting Joey to still look strong, like even though we know he's going to win, don't have it end in 30 seconds just because we know. Have it take some time. So that was exactly what we got here, and that was a good match. So.
And it was interesting the way this day started out was like the first 35 minutes were two matches where you already knew who was going to win. So I guess that kind of felt like what deflated the show for me, I guess. Another quick note, Jake
Roberts. There were
Roberts.
spoilers, bro. You could have known everything who was going to win before it ever even started.
I never saw the spoilers. Jake Roberts looked like death here, man. He was sweating his ass off. He didn't even really do anything. He got up on the apron. His shirt was wet as hell. Like he jumped into the swimming pool. He was glistening.
They're outside. It's hot.
He like pulled up the bag. I assume there wasn't a snake in there because they never showed the snake. Brother. But like he pulls up the bag and he's like panting, fucking dying. And I'm like, oh my God, this man is like, get this man a bottle of water or something. That's my note from it, you know.
But yeah, they did a lot for Joey here, and Archer still looks fine. He's at least being featured. Still pretty dominant. Didn't really give a whole lot to Joey there, so it was a really good match. I'm surprised for it being a short program. It's been fun, and I don't really need to see this continue like we had talked about before. This was good. It was a nice little short program. After this, we got a Darby Allin video package. He says that he hasn't forgotten about Brian Cage, and then he does a coffin drop into the foam from a very tall height. So this was
unrealistic.
This
what
was
you guys
stupid.
think about this? Was this a necessary segment?
Oh yeah, bro. It made the show what it was. No, it sucked. I don't. I'm liking these Darby Allin videos less and less
every week.
Yeah.
The more he talks and doesn't have anything to do on TV because he's hurt or whatever, the worse it gets.
There was one interesting note from this is that he talks about Brian Cage, who basically put him out of commission and beat the shit out of him.
Well, he put himself out of commission in reality.
Yeah,
he's
an idiot.
Yes, but in storyline purpose, it was Cage.
If Cage, depending on the result, it feels like that's the direction they're gonna go with Cage. After he's got to deal.
But that means Cage will probably lose the belt, which is
what
fucking
I mean.
dumb.
Yeah.
Well, that said, wouldn't it? Because Cage is going to lose probably. Wouldn't it be better if you just have Darby Allin shut up for a few weeks, so then he can come out and go after Cage instead of having him do these dumb promos?
Do we have a confirmation on the man he was talking to tonight?
No.
I have no idea. It's just a guy with a tall,
probably another
extreme sports,
big scaffolding man.
Skater, yeah.
Do we like the editing in this video?
No, dude, we didn't like anything in this. This is
like, when is he ever gonna be jumping from that height onto?
And we should have known Darby was gonna suck when he was introduced in remember the fire? I don't have to explain it much more than that.
I remember the fire.
The AEW fire, Phil, you remember? The logo, the logo on fire when Darby Allin was skateboarding through the field. It was on like Being the Elite or Road 2. I can't believe you forget this, Phil. You must have been drunk that episode.
It was terrible.
I don't remember either.
Yeah,
it was before. It was the before times for you, Kira.
Yeah,
but
you wouldn't have seen it, Kira.
It was like when AEW, maybe even before we had gotten into our first run of shows, they did a hype video for Darby Allin, and he rode a skateboard, and at the end it was a really bad graphic of the AEW logo on fire.
It was terrible.
It was awful, but yeah, we should have known then. we bought into it. He was such a cool character for a while, and now they're losing it. They're losing it, and
If they just had him shut up,
we're
they
probably
could redeem him.
and I'm probably in the minority. Like I'm sure wrestling Twitter still loves him because he's
Oh,
like
yeah.
that demo. But for me
I don't
personally,
hate him.
well, and it's because we
Yeah.
haven't seen him wrestle. Because what is impressive about him is his in-ring capabilities and
Yes.
lack thereof, or well, not his in-ring capabilities. So, yeah, he needs to get back in the ring, and that's obviously
Yeah.
like he can't control it, but he shouldn't have
And if
done
he
that
get
dumbass
back-
spot.
And if when he does get back and he like wins or like just puts on a really good show, I feel like that would help too. But
Mhm.
if he loses or it's like just like oh, you won that way kind of thing, then it's
Right.
not gonna be as
The
like
problem,
oh yeah,
the problem
Darby
with
is
that is
awesome.
that you have Darby Allin who's going to go after Cage, and if he's
Yeah.
coming back soon, then you have John Moxley beating Cage, and then you have Darby
Yeah.
Allin beating Cage, and Cage
No way,
just
dude.
gets another
No,
hot shot. Where
no.
exactly?
See, that's what doesn't make sense to me is if he goes in a program with Cage and Cage has lost to John Moxley, he's probably
He
not
can't
gonna
lose.
win.
Yeah.
So that means his momentum
That
is
seems
gonna
like
get
such
even worse.
stupid booking for.
I mean, they're
Mox to
already
even
hot
retain.
shotting him.
Mox shouldn't even retain it. Like, how do
No, he
you like? Let's go right into the next segment. Brian Cage comes out with Taz, and they announce that he's the new FTW World Champion. How do you become the FTW World Champion and the next week lose your title match?
No, I agree. I'm saying
I'm
if
not
you want
saying
to
he's
hot shot a
defending
guy,
the
fine.
FTW title, but how do you like?
No.
What a fucking geek!
But
Like, oh,
if
this
you're
week
gonna-
I've got my own title, and next week I lose the real title match. Like, what a doofus!
If you're gonna fucking strap a rocket to a guy, go all the way. Like, don't like, cause that's just gonna
They're
ruin his
halfway to
momentum.
all the way, bro. They gave him a fake title this week, and next week he's gonna lose the real title, so he's gonna look like a geek.
Yep.
Either way, the title choice is interesting because win or lose, where does this title go? Like if he wins the title,
you can do something with it.
what he's gonna hold two
Wait,
titles?
When you guys are saying, you're saying you think that Moxley is going to lose?
No,
Or you think
unfortunately,
that I mean,
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage.
will
Yeah,
lose?
Yes, we
Yeah.
think Cage is going to lose.
Okay.
But either way, the title it's a weird time to debut it because like if he wins, then he's got a real belt, and why does he need the fake belt? If he loses, he's got
doesn't
a
look
fake
like a
belt, and he
badass,
looks like
yeah.
a geek.
I agree
Uh,
with that extent, but I don't know.
I think the
I like
time-
the idea of the belt, but I
Yes.
do agree that it's like maybe
the timing.
weird.
Okay, does everyone know what FTW stands
Yeah,
for?
it's
Fuck the world.
No
Really?
way,
That's
dude.
No thing?
Yes, it's from ECW.
I thought
Um,
it meant for the women. I
for
thought he
the
was all
women.
about the
No.
women's division. I thought Brian
No.
Cage was a real proponent for Nyla Rose.
Somebody on Twitter suggested that they could use it like the $1 Million Championship, and it be that type of deal.
Nah, it should be like the BMF title in the UFC, where he should just be a real badass dude beating the shit out of people with that belt.
But then it
But him
becomes a
going
real
against
belt.
like him going against Mox almost fits that narrative. But then yeah, after that, I don't know.
So I thought it was an interesting time for the belt. The belt necessarily isn't a bad thing, and storyline wise, it does make sense.
Maybe
If
it's
you
in
know
case
the
Mox
origin-
gets sick.
If you know the origin of why the FTW belt was even created back in 1998 or 1999, whenever that was,
Oh wow.
I looked it up, and it was because Taz was in a program with Shane Douglas for the ECW title, and Shane Douglas kept getting injured in real life, and for some reason the match kept getting put off, so he was like, fuck it, the champion is dodging me, this is the real title, I'm the real champion, and it's basically what's happening now.
So you're saying he made up this title
Yes,
just
he
so
made
he
up-
could be like, I
Yes.
have a title.
Yes, because
love
Shane
that
Douglas
Phil
was
is
never
okay.
healthy enough.
Phil is okay with the idea that we have to look all the way back to 1997 for why this storyline makes sense, but we can't watch Being
I
the
was-
Elite to see why storylines make sense.
Well, because being the elite insults my intelligence. I
Dude,
don't need
but the it is interesting when you bring that part up. I actually didn't know that, but it would make sense, especially like I said. What if Mox does end up getting sick next week? They need to do an interim title match. Oh, boom! He defends this title against whoever.
Darby Allin.
Well, Jericho just
Boom.
Darby. Yeah, if he's able to compete, I guess you easily could get that out of the way. Or like I said, Jericho just won an important match. He's probably the only notable name I could think of. It wouldn't be the best match, and it's not like they're both heels, obviously, so it's weird.
Yeah.
But who else is of note that could face him? So
Darby Allin.
MJF,
Yeah,
but
Why?
Again,
Why do we want to
you know,
do bad guys versus bad guys?
I'm not. I don't. I'm saying logically based
Yeah,
upon their
no, I
rankings
understand.
and win loss. I'm not even saying like because at a point with
I hear
with them
ya.
doing
It's just
rankings,
tough.
they have to throw out the idea of, well, we can't do bad guy versus bad guy, because that's why I almost feel like Cage is guaranteed to lose, because they want to do MJF next, and they won't do bad guy versus bad guy. So Cage is probably going to lose, and that just, it sucks that you can see the future in that just based upon their rankings. Whereas if they at least like maybe do bad guy versus bad guy, it's a little strange. But you could just do the match real quick. You don't have to do a program with it. So
I mean, if we're pretending wins and losses matter, and I emphasis on pretending sometimes, but
Yeah.
if we're going that route, then yeah, you should do bad guys versus bad guys. And I don't think the fans are going to go, oh, I don't care about this match because both of them are assholes. I think they're going to go, I want to see who wins.
yeah.
Because it's different,
But
and the
Cage
wins
versus-
and losses matter.
Yeah, Cage versus that's where Cage versus Jericho is a little weird, like, and him versus MJF, because they don't have like the it doesn't seem like it'll be a great match. If it if it's like a face versus face or heel versus heel, and the match seems like it'll be great on paper, you can easily get past it. When it's not, you just have to like accept the fact that it's okay. These two are ranked comparatively, and we just have to deal with it. It happens in UFC too, when it's like two non-exciting fighters at the top of the rankings, and they just have to be given a fight against each other. People might not be looking forward to it, but it's one that has to happen. So when you do rankings, you kind of have to compare it to shit like that. Overall, though, I'm curious where this FTW championship goes, but I don't know, especially with, like I said, I don't feel like Mox is going to lose next week, but they've done a good job at that, I guess, because I'd almost say probably if you go back every week, I might flip-flop every week on who I think is going to win, so that's good.
No, I think Mox is going to win, and it sucks.
I guess, to me, like, I think that Mox will win, but how? How does he win, and Cage doesn't look like a geek with this new belt?
He's going to look like a geek, dude.
I guess next week we'll see.
I mean, they tried to hotshot Lance Archer, and they had him lose. Like, they don't care about it. Like, they don't care about the ramifications about what happens after. It's very clear.
Yeah, that's true. A team that they hot-shotted and killed the next week, the Butcher and the Blade, we're actually in the next tag team match. We have Butcher and the Blade with the Lucha Brothers taking on F. This one was surprising to me. I actually looked at the spoilers because...
Oh, it's
Sorry about that, Andrew. You're cutting out.
Nah, man. We're good. You guys hear me? We straight?
We're good now, I think.
Yeah. There we go.
Alrighty, if everything's good. Where were we? What match were we talking about? Butcher and the Blade, Lucha Bros versus... Yeah, I was surprised about this match because we have the Butcher and the Blade magically picking up the victory here. I didn't expect this. What do you guys think?
I didn't expect it either. I was very surprised. And we talked about how the Young Bucks and FTR might have a dissension, and that's the only way they lose. And they really didn't. I mean, they super kicked them, but after the match, they weren't like fighting or pissed at each other, which was kind of interesting. It's definitely an interesting way to take this. I expected them to at least, get in each other's faces and, throw some super kicks, but I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. I was surprised, so to that end it was great. Pentagon's back. To that end, I'm happy, but I really don't have a huge reaction to it. I was kind of lukewarm to it. I'm not gonna
lie. It was a good match.
It was.
Ray Phoenix, as always, did crazy shit that you won't see anybody else do.
Nick Jackson too.
The Canadian Destroyer onto people, that was crazy. Him running on the ropes is crazy. Really surprising result here, because I believe on Monday we were like, these are 3 top tag teams and then the Butcher and the Blade. So how am I supposed to expect that team to win? And then they did. So it was an interesting choice. Again, like AJ said, man, I really wanted some drama after this. It seemed like there should be drama. Nothing happened. So all in all, it was a good wrestling match with no real story implications at all.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there wasn't really a lot of stories today. It was just like
Wrestling.
that. Yeah, wrestling.
Wrestling.
Which isn't
And,
the
like,
worst thing, but it
no,
doesn't feel
no,
like a
no.
pay-per-view.
No, yeah. But, like, we have a lot of these slow burn storylines that I'm looking to see some results for, you know? Like,
Yeah.
the Dark
Yeah.
Order storyline, Hangman and Kenny, FTR and the Young Bucks. Like, are we, like, dragging it out to All Out for all of them?
I
Because,
think
like,
so.
one of these days, one of these things has to reach a conclusion. They have to reach the climax because you can't just, like, every week build up because after a while you lose like the impact of the moment if you wait too long.
I agree.
Unless they're just trying to like get our hopes so low so that when like something good happens, they'll be like, whoa.
No, that's the WWE.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, so I'm definitely with you guys here. This one was a surprising result. Before the connection got all messed up, I was trying to say that I actually read the spoilers to this show, and this one I misread. And totally like when it happened, when the Butcher and the Blade went, I was like, yo, wait, did they actually film stuff like out of order? Did stuff get changed up? So it was interesting to see how this turned about, but. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to see. It looks like the Lucha Brothers are going to be next in line for the tag team titles, though. At least that's how it looks to me. They have a match set up for next week. They'll probably come out victorious on that and just be right back on the road.
They are fighting
FTR. So I mean, they could easily. I mean, and probably you would want to see FTR pick up the win here.
Yeah.
But this still easily could be them on the road to a potential tag title match. So
Dude,
who knows?
the Lucha Brothers fighting Hangman and Page would be a really good match. And
Hangman
that's the
and
kind of-
Page.
yes,
Hangman and Page.
But my point still stands that that's a good match. You don't really know who would win in that scenario, and it's a good enough match to where that's where the turn could happen.
Definitely.
Just because it's definitely a main event level match.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they faced before, have they?
I'm not sure. I'm sure they may have faced in like a multi-man match, but
yeah, maybe just before COVID, but I'm not totally sure. I'm with Phil though in the sense of some of these slow burn storylines, like they were fun in the beginning, but every storyline doesn't need 6 months to pan out. If we rushed FTR versus the Young Bucks, would anybody be mad? Would they only be able to do it for a month because they rushed right into it? Like you could extend that storyline quite a bit without even getting titles involved, and instead they're doing it this way where it really hasn't even begun yet.
yeah.
And all the stories seem to be like as if they started at the same spot and then they just like are went away. If they just like started one and then like scattered it, it would be like something different.
Yeah,
to look
they're all
forward
like
to. Now it's
progressing
like,
at the same length.
when is something gonna happen? Maybe that means something is gonna happen because they got them in this mode of what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I was super
Yeah.
bummed when they started shaking hands after the match because I was not with it.
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
would
see
just like to
drama.
have seen something. And
Yes.
on one hand, you can't blame them. Like, good thing they didn't do anything crazy on a night where they had all these spoilers
Yeah.
because you don't want that to get ruined. Or maybe you do. We'll see with the ratings breakdown how NXT fared with a major spoiler coming out of that. Do people tune in to see a potential title change on another show? I don't know, because there was nothing major on this show. So if you read
Nope.
these spoilers,
Yeah.
you know that you're not missing anything. If you read that spoiler or see that spoiler, you know something big is going to happen. You want to see how that happens. So
Yeah, I would definitely. If
Oh.
I'm gonna make a prediction, I'm pretty sure NXT is gonna win this week,
Yeah,
just
same.
because of that major ass moment on their show.
I don't know how the demos will look like usual, but and the numbers, I think NXT
Yep.
hasn't.
What's your question?
So you're saying that they recorded this episode, so like the
Yeah.
result came out,
Yeah.
and everyone
yeah,
knew.
one of the fans that was in the crowd. Well, I imagine it was one of the fans that was in the crowd, like posted what happened on Reddit, and so people knew. But there was nothing exciting. And then in a similar situation on NXT WWE's show that airs on Wednesdays, they potentially crowned a new champion. They might have retaped it, so they potentially crowned a new champion tonight, and that was spoiled. But people would be excited to see a new champion crowned, so they're more inclined to tune into that show, despite the spoiler.
Yeah, that show's world champion who's
It-
had a long ass reign lost his title.
to another like upcoming rising guy who has a lot of fan base behind him. Like it's very akin to, like, we won't see the numbers to it, but I've mentioned it a couple times this week. It reminds me of the Mick Foley thing where they made the spoiler of that'll put butts in seats, but people wanted to see that title change. People will want to see Keith Lee become NXT champion. So
Yeah.
Going forward, though, we had Big Swole. She's apparently suspended, not allowed to come into the arena. So talking about another storyline that's kind of getting drug out a little bit too long. It's good to see this we thought it was good to see it every week. But now it's like without them really able to capitalize on anything and make any matchups based off of this, it's going on a little too long and becoming...
It's very clear the well is run dry on this and they're out of ideas.
This at least has a reason for it because Britt Baker is injured. The other ones are just being drug out for the sake of being drug out.
But they should have had her fight Rebel. They also had, I don't know, you guys definitely probably didn't see it on Twitter last week, but Deonna Purrazzo, I know you guys aren't big fans of her, but Matt, shout out to our boy Matt in the group chat.
Barely know who that is.
He's a big fan of Deonna Purrazzo, and she apparently was tweeting back and forth with Britt Baker about fighting Big Swole for her. That is something that could have happened that you could make entertaining and introduce a new character to AEW fans. They still could do something like that, but I would have done it now.
Because I don't know if like Rebel is an in-ring performer.
Yeah, does she wrestle? Does anyone know?
Does anybody know?
I don't know.
Wow, AJ, what the hell?
See, it would be nice though if Britt Baker had like a little lackey bitch who wrestles for her.
Yeah.
Because it's always interesting when you have a cowardly heel have like somebody fight for them, and also at the same
that's
time,
why I like the idea of it being Deonna Purrazzo, because they have a relationship back in Ring of Honor together. She's not great, but she's serviceable, obviously, as a talent. Like she was with NXT, She's not bad. It would be a decent match. It would make sense from a story. And it's not even like a lackey situation. It's like, hey, old friend, come handle this for me because I'm hurt. And like that's kind of a very interesting story that doesn't happen in wrestling.
Yes. And it would be nice if all the female wrestlers weren't just like solo competitors and there were like relationships and like friendships and like teams and stuff like that.
And some of that actually carried
division.
over.
I'm glad you're saying that because I probably would have said it.
To like build an actual division.
So
like NXT has.
Yeah.
Yep. So
the way they're handling
and
this,
NXT has it, and
tired.
NXT continues to do it with women that I'm so unfamiliar with, and they turn them into like actual characters I somewhat know about or begin to know more and more about. So,
I'm gonna apply to AEW and become a wrestler.
there we go. Phil will be your manager. We're set. We've got it. Well, after this segment, we got a little bit more women's action. We had Nyla Rose defeating Kenzie Page and Kylan King in about 3 minutes. Everyone, including us, hyped up Nyla Rose's potential announcement or whatever cool thing could happen. And all she told us was this announcement.
She has an announcement.
It's going to be another announcement, but we don't know when that announcement's coming yet. She has hired a manager. She's not telling us who it is.
Why bother?
What a dick.
You know, as we run down this show, it's just very clear this is the No Stories Allowed show.
Yeah. Like the beginning of stories, maybe, or not even like a taste of story.
I'll be honest, when this segment ended, I was livid because I was livid at you, Andrew, because the last time we spoke off camera and I asked you, is this segment like worth being excited about? And you kind of gave me like a positive answer. And you're such a scumbag because it wasn't. There was nothing here, man.
No.
Earlier in the night,
I didn't even know she had a manager. That's how I thought it was even worse.
Yeah, I really, when she said that, I was like, she probably doesn't. She's just saying, but I don't know, maybe not. But
there
like,
was.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would have been exciting if she like did show who the manager was, and they came out, and then it was like someone that you guys would be like, what? Like, I would just probably be like,
there's possibilities that.
Guys...
Yeah, on Twitter, everybody was saying Vicky Guerrero
That sounds
And
awful.
Almost every reply was either Vicky Guerrero or Awesome Kong, and I'm like, okay,
Awesome
Kong,
Kong is
okay.
another
That doesn't
awful
make
idea.
sense
But-
though. Is she good on the mic? Like what the
No,
fuck?
not really. She
So
doesn't
what is her
talk.
purpose? As a
I don't know. I don't know why people were saying that. I'm just saying people were saying it. Don't strike me down.
You said it wasn't that bad.
Awesome Kong. Well, she's an actor. I don't know. Maybe she can
Oh
talk.
man, bro.
Okay, let me say
Is
this
it gonna
right
be
now.
Brandy?
If you're
Yeah.
ever thinking of somebody, if you're ever asking yourself, is somebody good on the microphone, and you can't even remember a time they've ever spoken on the microphone, the answer is no.
She's
Because
good
if
on
it was
Glow.
good,
I don't know,
okay.
man.
She just needs a
Anyway,
boom mic and she'll be fine.
all of the options that are being presented right now sound awful. Tony Schiavone totally took me out of this segment before it even started. Like a half hour before this happened, he said it was a 2-on-1 match, and that killed it for me because I thought there was going to be like an interesting debut. No. Two AEW Dark losers teamed up and lost. Who could care?
What if Tully's her manager and that's how they introduced Tessa?
Here was
Jesus.
Sean Spears.
He's like, listen, you gotta train with my daughter. She's great.
Okay.
I
I'm
like
glad that-
it, bro. I like it, yo. I feel like Cody would hear that and be like, yo, that's perfect.
Oh my god.
That's how we get fucking segments like this. That's how we get segments like this.
Yeah, this
After this, luckily it was relatively short, but when the spoilers came out, people were like, you guys hyped it up on your own. They weren't hyping this up, and I call bullshit on that. They hyped it up for 2 weeks, talking about how she
Kept
had an
getting
announcement.
Twitter notifications from AEW saying, "Oh, Nyla Rose is going to be in action this week." So I thought it
And
was
making an
be
announcement,
somewhere
right?
interesting.
Like they were like
Yeah.
hyping it up, and then it's just that she has a manager, but we're not gonna know who it is right now.
And then she said she had. This
It is
awful
interesting
line.
though. We should note that it seems like they're pushing a program with her and Penelope first before she goes
Yeah,
right
they
with
kept-
Hikaru.
They kept showing Penelope a lot. That is true. It wasn't like a negative though. Like I'm gonna fight you. It was like Penelope was like clapping for her and shit. So
I
it
don't
was
know.
Weird.
I think she was kind of like being like, man.
Yeah. She had an awful line though when she said everybody in AEW who has a manager is a champion. Then she listed Cody. End of list. She said Brian Cage, who had a fake title. Every other person with a manager is not a champion. Lance Archer, no title. Sean Spears,
no
not
title.
TV, loser. That was awful.
Yeah, she tried, but it was rough. After that, we see Colt Cabana backstage. He's got an injury. This threw Phil for a loop because Colt was all fucked up.
Nasty.
Oh, it was gross. I
But
don't know if
he's
you
able
saw
to
it.
wrestle. Yeah, man.
I think I
seen
put
him.
in
He's
the
fine.
notes
He's a
it was
man.
grotesque.
He's a man. This leads into the Dark Order and Colt Cabana defeating SCU in about 12 minutes. So this was pretty good in terms of like we actually got a little bit of story here. They didn't they didn't dive right into it. This one is like all the other ones, getting a bit of a slow burn to it, but at least it's actually burning a little bit. It's not just the same consistency of fire we've had for 3 months.
Yeah. And Cole Cabana was, I think, in that promo, I forgot to write it down, but I think he called him Mr. Brody Lee, and so like he's kind of swaying to the dark side, and I don't think he's going to turn heel still. I really want him to. Twitter thinks he's going to turn heel. Everybody seems to think he is. I really don't think he will, because I think they're looking at that Cole Cabana boom boom merchandise and going, nope, that's our moneymaker.
I don't know.
AJ thinks everything is like John Cena in the WWE.
He could still
I
have
hope
his
I'm wrong.
uniform on, like, and be Cole Cabana, but in it, like, he wore his little uniform today with his Cole
I
Cabana
think
stuff.
he's ready to have like a legitimate real life story that can solidify his run,
I'd love
because despite his historic run, he doesn't have that. You know what I mean? Like anywhere. His historic
just
run comes from
old
podcasting and merchandising and sort of paving the way for independent wrestlers to make a living off of what they do.
Yeah, I mean,
but
there's Punk and Homicide, but that's it. Like Punk and Homicide, the end. And that was what 2007, 2006.
Forever ago, bro. So, yeah, this is interesting. I at least appreciate the slow burn for this one. So, it's all right. It's cool. Colt joining that group is good, and I'm with Twitter, man. I'm buying into it. He's going full blown.
I hope so. Fingers
guy.
crossed. I'm not being contrarian just for fun. I just don't think it's going to happen, but I really hope
Yes,
I'm
you
wrong.
are then.
He was.
I really hope I'm
He was
wrong.
very excited when he won. He was like, "Who, me?" Like after somebody else knocked him out. After was it? Who was
It
he?
would be great if he just becomes even more obnoxious in the group. Like the most, like even people within the group are like, this fucking guy. Like, does he not realize that he
Oh, that would be
won
funny.
because we've done all the work for him? So,
That would be nice, but then at the end of the day, then Colt just looks like a fucking loser. Like he turns his back on everybody to join a
Just to
group
be-
that ends up.
but if
they
he
don't
keeps
even want him.
winning, if he can continue to maintain the momentum,
It was interesting because they like have during this match he like did a few heelish things because of the injury. Like he was getting abdominal stretched and he goes to the ropes like a bad guy and he's like, "Hey, break, man, like get off me." But there's never like any overly like heelish thing he does, so it makes it interesting. I thought it was a decent match. You know, I noticed there are a lot of people in the Dark Order when they had everybody standing there.
10, bro. You didn't realize that the last guy who joined the group's name was 10, so that means there's 9 other guys.
Most of them are really, really useless. The Beaver Boys should be cut.
Wow, dude, that's fucked up.
They
They need the They need the jobbers.
I 100%
No,
agree.
they need
cut
the
the Beaver Boys.
jobbers. What do you mean?
And who is the guy with the chest tattoo? He has no story. He keeps showing up. Cut that fucking guy too.
Who are you? I don't even know who you're talking about.
Exactly.
He was the guy all the way to the left.
Dang. What about 10 though?
The Beaver
10
Boys
is
did
great.
not. If I was the Beaver Boys, I would be like, the Dark Order has clearly not helped us. Let's leave.
The 10 guy, he's fine. They obviously
10's
want
fine.
him to look like somebody
He looks
legitimate.
cool as fuck every time he just
does.
stands up.
Yeah,
there with
but
the-
I mean, looking cool only gets you so far when
I
you
do agree.
don't do anything.
well, no, I think it won't pay off for him if he ends up wrestling and is the shits.
Gotta
That's what it's
fucking
gonna come down
yeah,
to.
He's got his little broken arm gimmick, but like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna just wrestle on dark and
He has a
beat
broken
up?
arm. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, Moxley broke his arm like
Oh.
2 months ago.
Piece
Oh, I
of
thought
shit,
you were talking about-
Moxley.
He didn't really break his arm, but
Yes,
he's
he
got
did.
the
He's a
little
piece of
injury.
garbage.
Yeah, he broke his arm for real. This is a dangerous.
Anti-Moxley. He is a dangerous character. He's gonna get everybody fucking sick.
That's
Well,
legitimately the reason why he didn't show up.
Yeah.
Let's keep it pushing. They went over what we have set for next week live for Fight for the Fallen. Cody's going to continue his open challenge for the TNT title. The Lucha Brothers will take on FTR. The Elite will take on Jurassic Express. And John Moxley
like that
will
one.
defend the title against Brian Cage. I don't know how I feel about the Elite versus Jurassic Express. I love it if Jungle Boy somehow picks up a victory here, but
But they won't.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't feel like it.
I'm with you, Andrew. Though
It's not
if
like-
I'm gonna be rooting for Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express,
course.
but I don't with Phil. I like that. I don't think they're gonna win, but I'm gonna hope they would do.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, me too.
nothing wrong with the match. I'm sure it'll be a good match, but like the booking, whoever loses that match, that really sucks for them because Jurassic Express finally gets a signature win last week, and we're just gonna piss it away by feeding them to the Elite. It doesn't feel like the Elite is gonna lose again. I was shocked they lost it tonight.
that's fair too.
If,
That's a
if
good thought.
FTR loses that night, though,
But it's a good way to get them losses that don't really hurt their records in real life of terms of what they do. Like they just lost a 8-man, but that's just a loss on their record. When they go
Yeah.
into tag team rankings, that's not a real loss on their record. Even a 6-man isn't a real loss on their record. It's not a loss on Kenny's record. Like it is in theory, but when they do what they specialize in a singles or tag team capacity, they would still have their regular.
And I also just don't like the fact that if Kenny's going to be in this match, it feels like the storyline with Hangman is going to get pushed back another week. We're going to have no progression on that again.
I feel like this progresses it a little bit because it's like, why the fuck are you with them against them? Why is this
Yeah,
even?
if
Why are
it-
you
if-
still the Elite?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
You
if
know-
we have something like that, just anything, throw me a bone. Show
Yeah.
me a little
Also,
dissension.
we were talking about if the Lucha Bros beat FTR, they would be good opponents for Kenny and Hangman. If you have Kenny lose without Hangman, it makes Hangman look stronger. Like
That is
Hangman's
true.
the guy carrying the team. And then you also have that setup of you have Hangman and Kenny able to face Lucha Bros, and
Yeah.
FTR would have also lost, and then that means the Young Bucks lost, so they're on equal footing. So I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could see this going either way.
The number one thing that makes me not feel like that is Marco's stunt. As much as
Yep.
I like the little
Yeah.
guy and like
Right.
these teams are very still like unmatched. Like this is
You'd like to see
uneven.
Marco eat the pin.
It's uneven. It's uneven competition here. Yeah, Marco's guaranteed to get a one-winged angel next week. Like,
Killed.
I wonder who Cody's
can you
open
imagine
challenge
if he-
competitor will be, though. That's something I'm
Yeah.
a little bit interested in. I'm bummed
Dude.
our guy Ricky Starks hasn't gotten anything
Yeah.
after.
Who cares about that guy?
Oh, yeah, remember?
Exactly
do.
now.
That guy
Exactly
cares.
now. We could have if they had.
I like
they had,
that-
he could have done something back-to-back
Yeah.
weeks on Fyter Fest
Yeah.
against anyone and just
got
looked
nothing
interesting.
wrong. I got nothing against him, but as a guy who didn't know who he was before he showed up on AEW and he has only been there the 1 week, I don't care about him.
Yeah,
Nothing
I
for
can see your
him, nothing
point.
for Anna Jay, nothing for Abaddon. Like all
Well,
three of
Anna
those
Jay-
characters. No,
Anna
fuck
Jay-
both
Anna
of you.
Jay
You
was-
can't
got
sit here and
condemned.
no
She's
bullshit,
gotta be
dude. You can't
apocalypse.
say Ricky Starks is out, but Anna Jay is fine. Like
No, Anna
Uh,
Jay was exposed to the coronavirus though.
I get that, but she still wasn't on TV. She's losing momentum, the same as Ricky
I
Starks,
think,
the same as
who was this guy
Abaddon.
on Twitter for the Cody Rhodes thing? This dude Warhorse. Andrew, do you know anything about
oh,
Warhorse?
that's interesting. That's a really
He keeps-
like I wouldn't
they keep
pick
talking
it,
about
but
him all the time, and Cody actually said something about it on Twitter the other day about interesting matchups, and he said something like the guy who's all over my mentions. That's how he said
Mhm.
it. I don't know who Warhorse is, but just being on Twitter the past few days, it's been really pushed by Warhorse and people who know who that guy is. He looks interesting. He looks like he could be a fun matchup, you know. But
for all that, I want to see Nick Gage too. Like if we can just put
Oh
in
yeah.
just goofy
Oh
fucks,
fuck yeah,
like
dude! Now I want Nick Gage.
wasn't Nick Gage in jail at one point?
everybody
Yeah,
goes to
boy.
jail sometimes, bro. It's whatever.
MDK all fucking day.
All day, bro. So I mean, if Warhorse is gonna pop up, if they're just gonna pull up popular fucking game changer wrestlers, then we gotta get our guy Nick Gage in there. Yeah.
Couldn't even remember his name. He's your guy.
Well, yeah, you got me, bro. We'll just keep it going. Anyways, Big Swole is in disguise. She's here to confront Britt Baker. She throws the papers that she received in Britt's face. So, yeah, more of this. We talked enough about this. Let's talk about the main event.
No, wait. I gotta know.
all right, all
I
right.
gotta know about this.
Like, so is she gonna like have a broken nose thing now because
Really
of
sold
the
it.
paper?
Disaster piece.
Like she's gonna come in next week with like a. Oh, what do you even come in with a broken nose? Like a bandage on your nose or like a
Dude,
bandage?
is she
like a
gonna do the
face
Cody
mask.
Rhodes thing?
Yeah, she's gonna do.
Yeah,
Dashing.
disaster piece.
Like
Oh man. So, the only thing I wanted to say about this was I didn't read the spoilers, but I skimmed through them when they first
my
came out. I
God.
didn't read any of it except for one segment that was like there's a bunch of women screaming. I don't really know what's going on.
Oh, that's this.
That's
Holy
exactly
shit.
what it was.
See, and
man.
that's the
Like,
thing too. Like I didn't read the spoilers very thoroughly. Like I said, the one match I was totally wrong about, and other stuff I thought or expected to happen didn't. So it but this, yeah, the fact that you mentioned that's hilarious because I forgot
me,
about
the
that, but this is
Yeah.
that.
Can we talk about? Does anyone remember when Big Swole said who Britt Basura Baker? Like
Yeah.
she said garbage because
Yeah, nobody.
Basura means
yeah,
garbage,
I didn't get it.
and she threw her in the trash.
It made-
So now it's funnier now, right?
Yeah, it was funny when
I'm
you
dead.
explained
The way she broke it down made it funny.
it. Yeah, I looked at the spoilers just for the match order, and I read
Lame.
women screaming, and I was
Spoiler.
like, "What's this?"
Yeah, that's lame, Phil. Reading spoilers.
And there was no point in that, and there was nothing that came out of it. It was just
I don't know.
Real fans don't.
Yeah,
Real
fuck
fans
this.
don't read spoilers.
Oh,
Phil.
well, okay, so what does that make you?
The realist. We
Okay.
got Chris Jericho defeating Orange Cassidy in the main event. This one went nearly 20 minutes. It wasn't bad, but it kind of never really got to a point where I felt like Orange was going to win. I guess that might just be me, but
really.
I just didn't. I know we had hope going in. Well, I read spoilers, so I guess I can't even like.
Yeah.
Oh
Fucking
my
fool.
God, you guys ruined
Well,
it.
no,
I
no,
didn't
like
read
I
the
can't. I'm
spoilers,
not
so
saying.
I'm here.
Good.
I'm not saying. I don't know.
I didn't even know.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match.
It was a
thought,
solid finish. That was dope.
Yeah, it was a great finish. It was a great match. I think Orange Cassidy gave everything he had. I think Chris Jericho gave everything he had. I thought they put on the best match they could. They gave him 18 minutes and almost 19 minutes. And they had a fucking overrun. I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God, what the
that
hell
was
is
cool. I
happening?
thought that was
It was
interesting.
it was like 9:59.
But what a horrible way
And
to
they had him. They like pinned him, and we were like, "This is it."
Yeah.
And he kicked out, and we're like, "Wait, are they gonna do it in the next 30 seconds?"
I started
And then it
getting.
was 10 o'clock, and I'm like, "Oh my God, now you really don't know who's gonna win."
Dude, I'll admit, I started getting anxious when it hit like 9:59, and I was like, "Yo, can you imagine if they cut it off? That would be terrible."
I was thinking that too.
If it was like a draw
I've
or
never
something.
seen it happen before, so I didn't know what they would
Then
do.
they shouldn't say TV time remaining if TV time remaining is a lie. Am I
Right,
wrong?
but
Am I wrong?
That said,
They say that?
I
Yes.
was
They
still
always say that.
surprised.
That's
Really, really
that's
bad.
bullshit, and I should petition AEW because Orange Cassidy shouldn't have a loss on his record. It should be a draw.
No.
What do you mean? No, it's TV time
No.
remaining. They went past the 10 o'clock hour, bro. That's when the
He
TV
was
time is
defeated.
done. No bullshit, dude.
Maybe their time remaining tonight was till like 10:15.
Oh,
but they
all
didn't.
of a sudden. Oh, okay.
Dude, I thought this match
I
was
know.
pretty
I'm
good.
thinking too much into it, but that's bullshit.
I thought this match was pretty good. About up until like the last 5 or 6 minutes, I was thinking that it was a pretty underwhelming showcase. I didn't really feel like anything was really being done. It was a lot of Chris Jericho offense, beating the crap out of him. But the last 6 minutes, Orange Cassidy looked really good. He got a lot of near falls. He hit his finisher. I don't
Yeah.
remember what his finisher is. It's not.
Isn't it a Superman punch?
It's the diving DDT, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't
Well,
it
he
the thing-
definitely won off a Superman punch on Dark. So
Oh yeah.
He beat that big guy on a Superman punch.
one. That's it. That's all the match was. One Superman punch. Must see
He
moment
beat.
of AEW Dark.
Are you serious? He beat
Superman
that dude
punched
in 10
him.
seconds?
Yeah, with a Superman
That's
punch.
awful.
What a fucking beast, dude.
That is awful. That is almost.
No, that's
as
how you
awful
get
as
a
Mike
fucking
Nakazawa
move
beating
over, bro.
somebody.
No, get out
I'm
of here, bro.
so glad I
Oh
didn't
my
watch
God.
Dark because when I saw that, I was like, "Yo,
The
one of
Michael
these
Nakazawa thing?
I was like, "Yo, one of these enhancement talents is gonna get a victory."
No.
No, they lose to
Pillman
a.
Jr. looked like a dork though, so
Yeah, like
Look,
I was
let's
saying
finish up
before-
talking about
Yeah,
Fyter
like I was
Fest before we
saying
talk
before,
about Dark.
This was a very good match. I thought.
Yeah,
You
and
know, it wasn't like the groundbreaking character making, like, oh my God, Orange Cassidy's a star now. But he did a really good job showcasing himself. He got beat up pretty good. He got orange juice thrown at him.
No, and Audrey, when she went for that one pin, she just like dove right in the orange juice. Didn't even care, doing her job. Like,
Yeah.
good job,
yes,
Audrey.
girl.
I also noticed that, and it was like, oh yeah, she's just gonna get in there and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and go ahead, Kira.
Oh, I agree that the match is really good, but I disagree with AJ. You said that you didn't know, like you knew that. You said you at no point that you thought that Cassidy would win at all.
No, that
Right?
was me.
No, I
That
know,
was
not
me.
at all.
Yeah. But
Oh,
before we get into this, let me clarify, I guess, what I mean and why I brought up the fact that I read spoilers. Like, it's very hard to get into a match and think about, even buy into Orange Cassidy winning when you already know he's not. Like, so at that point, I did watch it, was entertained by it, but even any near fall or anything I do, I'm never buying into it because you already know what's gonna happen. So, and that's on me. That's my bad. You read spoilers. That's what happens. Phil talked about
Yeah,
it on the
no.
last show.
I
But
was hooked. They got me a few times.
I
Oh,
think even still, and
Yeah.
my point was like going into it, we had hope that Orange Cassidy would win, but like actually watching it and knowing the story of him and stuff, and even kind of going into the end of our discussion on Monday, I think we all kind of came to the determination like he's probably not going to win. Like it just that for so many reasons it didn't make very much sense. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I said was, as long as he looks good in losing,
Mhm.
it,
And he
it
did.
doesn't hurt him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did that. Too.
I feel like when it went into the overrun, I started buying the near falls more.
Mhm.
I think at that point I was like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
different and significant.
I think at that point
That's
I
when
was
I
just
was like,
I was probably
what the fuck's
salty.
happening?
I was like like I already know what's happening. This could be awesome if I didn't know what's happening. Like they're going into an overrun.
Don't
So
read the spoilers, you geek.
Yo,
What the hell, man?
don't tell me. Tell Joseph. He posted it in the group chat. So
You didn't have to click on
it
him.
was Ryan actually. I'm not. Don't let me bury Joseph on the pod.
Who cares? Fuck that guy. He wears 2 masks at the same time. What a
Oh
loser.
my god.
Anyway.
Of all places you choose. Let's keep it going. Dark. We'll talk a little bit about Dark, seeing as Fighter. We're done with
Okay.
Fighter Fest. I do want to talk a little bit about Dark because I
Talked
watched
about
some
Dark
of it.
When you watched it,
Oh,
yeah.
what are the
Yeah,
must-see
bro.
moments?
Yeah, come on, bro. What are
Yeah,
the
the
must-see
must-see
moments of Dark?
moment. Brian Pillman Jr. was definitely not entertaining. I was very disappointed by this. I wanted to see
he
him
dodged
be.
us. It's
When
fine.
you say he looked like a geek, did he just get squashed
Nah,
or did he
he-
look bad?
Well, he didn't. He pretty much got squashed for one. He lost. Like, okay, so you know how Spears is doing his plate gimmick with
Black glove.
with his glove, a loaded glove.
Who cares?
He didn't exactly. Who cares? He beat him and then he loaded his glove and hit him with it. So it wasn't like it
Even
wasn't.
get the glove
Yeah.
gimmick, what a loser.
It wasn't like he lost because he got fucked up. He lost because he's a loser, and then he
great.
got fucked up. That was tough. Michael Nakazawa doing his thong gimmick, that was tough. I didn't actually watch that. I
Awful.
Moment.
Ew.
skipped past
Awful.
it. What else was there on Dark? I think I was talking about. Scorpio Sky has his own theme music. That's must see moment.
Who did he fight?
Who the fuck cares? He won, but he's in SCU, man, and they're a tag team. He's the first tag team champion, and he's got his own solo theme music. So that was interesting.
Makes sense. They're kind of pushing him as like a singles guy recently.
Really?
They have been.
Sometimes.
Oh, and then they had like some nasty ass 8-man tag match with the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers against a bunch of geeks.
Against losers.
And
yeah, I
they
saw
won
that.
in like 45 seconds. It took longer for everyone to come out. It was nasty.
Dude, when I saw that match, I was like, there's no way this team wins on Dynamite.
No.
And then they did.
Yeah,
was
dude,
like,
that's what I
"Give them
thought
that."
too. I was like, they're trying to
like-
build them up a little bit. It's a little
Yeah.
late for that.
Yep. I was mad when I saw that match because I was like, they're just giving away the fucking ending at this point.
Yeah, I was just mostly disappointed with the Pillman match though, because kind of like Phil, I thought this would be a show where maybe we would see someone come out with a victory who was supposed to be an enhancement talent, and Pillman just looked really, really green, man. We talk about it a lot with
Private Party.
and Nyla Rose to an extent, especially early on. He's still even like a little bit, and maybe not even in his actual wrestling, but just his character work and trying to find himself. He always feels like he's trying to be someone else. Like he doesn't know that he's pretty cool just himself. He doesn't have to turn it up this extra level. But that could just be me. We'll have to wait and see. I imagine we'll probably see more of him in AEW just because he has a name. He will get better, and I don't want to bury him and say he was terrible. It's just like you always have high anticipation for a second generation superstar anyway, but he does have moments where he shines. But it's always like when he first gets in with a company, it takes him a minute to really find his footing. It was like AJ. You remember? Did you watch all those MLW shows with me with Pillman? And we were like, it took him a minute, but finally he came around to where we were like, oh yeah, we like him now. It was kind of like that all over again, where he felt really raw. He was like, oh, a funny moment of it all. He like does his whole entrance, whatever. He's taking forever. And then he goes and like stands in the corner to throw his arms up, but it's right as Sean Spears' theme starts, so they have to like go out of focus on him. Like he looked like a geek from before the match even started.
I believe that you're just burying him because he
Oh
dodged
my
your interview
god!
requests.
No way,
He
bro.
kept
First
saying
of
that
all,
he'd come on the
he would
podcast
probably
and
do
he
an
would
interview with me ASAP because that's my boy. He'd be like, "Yo, NASA." I've talked to Brian Pillman Jr. like 3 times every time I go to Starcast, bro. That's my boy.
Yeah, well,
I'm not.
why does
I'm
it
not
come
even
to
burying him.
podcast?
I'm just saying that it was whack. Why don't you
So
come on the
you
podcast half the
interviewed
fucking
him,
time? Does
let's
that
be
mean you're
honest.
not my boy?
let's talk tough. Let's talk tough right now. If Brian Pillman was on your podcast, would you tell him how much of a geek he came off tonight?
He shit all over Bryce Remsburg that one time, so yeah, I think
bro.
so.
Leave me alone. I would tell him his first experience in AEW wasn't all that. I would ask him why he was standing on the corner when Sean Spears was making his entrance. That's probably more so. It's like watching an independent guy become accustomed to the cameras and
TV.
everything. So
Yeah.
it was, like I said, it wasn't the wrestling. I wasn't varying his wrestling. It's more his character work and everything else. Other than that, Dark was. I didn't watch any of the rest of it, so I've got nothing for you. Not even gonna pretend and say it was good. That really wraps everything up we have to talk about. This week we'll probably do a Fight for the Fallen preview just because the card looks dope for that. But that wraps everything up. AJ, go ahead, plug your social media.
You can follow me on Twitter at BigMatchAJ, and you can follow me on Instagram at HATheFitzy.
And you know where to find Phil and Kira. They always make it so awkward to plug their social media. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/AllElitePod, or on Instagram at AllEliteEverything, and on Twitter at AllElitePodcast. You can also catch us on YouTube at youtube.com/AllElitePodcast. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, brother. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning in.